attitude, didn't want to spend too much time with people. So they drive up and you give them whatever order, whatever you have, and they're gone and you never see them again. It's like, yes, awesome. And then I started thinking, as I was thinking about me working at McDonald's, I thought, what about if church was like that? Man, it would be so awesome. You know, just having a drive-through church. You know, a person comes in, you know, they're saying, oh, I'm having a great day. How are you? Yeah, okay, would you like some blessings with that? Go to window 2. Oh, something bad happened? Okay, let's go over there and we'll help you healing. And I thought, man, that would be so cool because you wouldn't have to spend too much time with people. But unfortunately, that's not how God made it. Because I really think our church would be really successful. Because I'm telling you, I think our relationship with God is on point. I think we're doing the praying good, we're doing the praising good. And I mean, we didn't buy no musicians and stuff, but man, we're just so excited because of God. But unfortunately, that's not the only relationship we need to have.
Come on.
We got to have relationships with others.
Come on.
We can't have that drive-through. So I started thinking, man, what makes it, why is it so hard to have that relationship? I mean, we're doing so good with God.
Yeah.
And we can't even see God. But the people we see is like, oh, man, that is rough. So I have one question that I think why it's so hard is, you know, why are people so mean? Why are people so mean? Not happy? Okay, I can go with that.
Defense.
A little defense, okay. I'm going to go to Romans 1:28 and 30. It says, furthermore, just as they did not think it worthwhile to retain the knowledge of God, so God gave them over to a depraved mind, so that they do what ought not to be done. They have become filled with every kind of wickedness, evil, greed, depravity. They are full of envy, murder, strife, deceit, malice.
Wow.
They are gossips, slanders, God haters, insolent, arrogant, boastful. They invent ways of doing evil, and check this out, they disobey their parents.
What?
I don't know where, you know, maybe that was the old times and stuff, because they're not talking about the people now.
Disobedient to parents.
Oh, no, I don't see that. All right, so it's saying, hey, because we're not with God, we technically become mean because, well, all we have is us, and we ain't so good. You know, we're not made good. So now, if we know there's mean people there, and that's stopping us from making relationships, what do we do with those mean people?
I don't know. Tell me about it. Preach it. Amen.
There you go, George. However, we're not going to be able to fill up these seats with it. You might have to go into a funeral home. We'll get more business that way. We're not sure. So, what do we do with mean people? Romans 5:38-42. Here's what it says. If you have heard that it was said, eye for an eye and tooth for a tooth. We could stop right there, huh, George? But it says, but I tell you, do not resist any evil person. If anyone slaps you on the right cheek, do not shoot them. Turn to them the other cheek also. And if anybody wants to sue you, man, take your shirt and hand over your coat as well.
I need your shirt.
If anyone forces you to go 1 mile, go with them 2 miles.
Amen.
Oh boy.
Give to the one who asked you, and do not turn away from the one who wants to borrow from you.
Come on.
Now, you know, I'm talking about people. I'm not saying Christians, because, you know, Christians good, people bad, right? So, we come from different breeds, right? There's different kinds of humans. There's Christians good, and then the evil, bad people over here.
Amen.
It's not, it doesn't work. Matter of fact, you know, when we're saying, man, I want to fill this church with people, we're talking about the mean people.
Yeah.
Come on.
We're talking about them.
Yes.
Okay, so who are these mean people?
Yes. Amen.
Who are these mean people?
Thieves.
And can you put that up there, Atlanta? Can you put the next one that says, who are these mean people?
Yeah, he's up there.
And then the next slide.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Oh,
Burn. Ouch. Fire. That's good, Rob. Preach it.
yeah, that's who the mean people are.
And I'm a speaker.
Yeah, he didn't want to be recognized. So, now, if we're the mean people, why are we mean? We said when other people are mean, it's because they're unhappy. Why are we mean?
Out of fellowship.
Out of fellowship, okay.
We react to the action.
We react to the action. Yeah, they were mean first, so I'm mean there. Take that. Eye for an eye. Let's not read the other part, just eye for an eye.
When you turn the
Because
cheek,
our relationship with God is in.
Turn the cheek. Okay.
Our relationship with God isn't as close as we should be.
Come on.
Okay. Yeah.
Come on.
So we're kind of, so even though I said our relationship was good, and if this relationship isn't good, they kind of influence each other, right?
They should be good.
If we start really hating our brothers and sisters, and we say, yeah, but I still love you, God,
Yep.
one of them's going to crash.
Yep, one's got to give.
So we got to be careful with that. I'll tell you why I am mean. Believe it or not, sometimes I'm
What do you
mean.
mean?
Tell me.
And the reason is because I get hurt.
Oh.
But it's funny. I accept it when I say I get hurt, but when another person is mean, no, they're not hurt. They're just mean. No, I do it because I am hurt. So what we want to talk about is, because what happens is hurt people hurt people. And then it just continues. You know, if I hurt Gabe and I'm hurting him here, guess what? It's not just going to be me and him. He's got a wife. His wife's going to get a little bit of hurt too. And then it's going to come back around. And as long as we're doing that, Satan says, oh, I don't even have to work with this family. We're doing it right here. It's kind of sad that happens. But it does. So hurt people hurt people. So now the next question is, okay, so how did those people get hurt? There had to be something that caused them to get hurt. And one of the things that gets people hurt is shame. When we feel shame. Well, we definitely need to get a definition of shame, because I just said shame. That was like from left field. It says the soul's deep belief that something is horribly wrong with me that is not wrong with anyone else in the entire world. Have you ever felt that way? Have you felt like, man, there's something wrong and no one else has that? Yeah, I've had that too. Now, the Bible says, hey, don't worry about that. He's got a verse for that one too.
Amen.
Romans 10:11 says, for the scripture says, whoever believes on him shall not be ashamed.
Glory.
Come on.
Thank you, Jesus.
Yes, hallelujah.
Praise
So
God.
what happened is, unfortunately, we don't start with a good brain and everything with little kids. You know what's funny? All other animals have instincts. Like a dog knows what to do and everything. A kid is just,
Yeah.
they have to learn everything.
Yeah.
Every single thing. And unfortunately, as they're really young, they get misled. They're not able to read the Bible and follow the Bible and understand it. So they have to go with their parents
Yeah.
to read it to them. So someone misled them. And it's not like they're being evil, haha, I misled you.
Life.
Remember, those parents were hurt by other parents too. So, and here's where shame comes from, is we expect to be perfect. Even though the Bible says, no, you're not perfect, man, you need something. That's why I'm here.
Jesus.
But we expect to be perfect. And then when we're not perfect, we get hurt. The difference with shame is when you don't have shame, when you don't have that deep unbinding or binding shame that's just tearing you up, when you make a mistake, it's just a mistake. But when you have that shame,
Eat you alive.
you know what? Instead of it's a mistake, you start saying, I'm the mistake. And it starts to really hurt.
Come on.
It starts to really hurt. We start thinking that I'm the mistake. And then, with that, that's how we see life. That's where we get our perception. That's where we get our vision in this messed up way that we got misled. You know, we think we're a mistake, and now we're trying to make sense about life. Well, that starts to contaminate our perception, our choices, our relationships. So, as we can see now, that mean person, maybe he's got some reasons to be mean. So we got these effective lenses. Whether we realize it or not, we all read and interpret the Bible through defective lenses.
Yeah.
You know, we say, no, but the Bible's perfect. The Bible's, you know, there's nothing wrong with the Bible. So when I read it, everything I say is the truth. Well, not necessarily, because your messed up little head is trying to understand that. So we really got to be careful with that.
Come on. That's
Because
good.
then we might mess up others with unintention. And once again, we're hurting people that are hurting others. So the truth, that's what we're looking for, right? In John 14:6, Jesus answered, I am the way and the truth and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. Now I think that one, even with our little messed up mind, we can probably say, okay, the truth is something important. I think we need to know about the truth. Even in John 8:32, it says, then you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. That is pretty powerful. I mean, it sounds neat, yeah, the truth's going to set me free. When it's talking about the truth, it's talking about you're doing like an inner examination.
Search me out.
That gets ugly. Because we hide that stuff good. You know, no one knows about my stuff. But when God says, hey, if you want the truth, man,
Yeah.
we got to do some cleansing.
Yes.
Yeah. Purifying, baby.
And it gets painful, because some of the stuff that you might find in there, you thought, oh no, that's not me. You know, it could be murderous rage, adulterous thoughts. It's like, no, hold on, I don't know what you're talking about. We might find these are things that we might find during these inner examinations. When we hide from painful truth, we deprive ourselves of discovering that Jesus, the great physician, is able to heal our unseen wounds, as he forgives our sins.
Yes.
Talking about unseen wounds, those are hard because we don't see them. You know, when a person comes in a wheelchair or maybe missing a leg, oh, we know it. Oh man, come on, have a seat. You're okay. Everything's, you know, we're going to help you out as much as we can. We see your injury. We want to make you better. But we don't do that when we can't see it. We don't, when the person's damaged walking in here, hey, he's got legs, arms, I don't see any injuries. But there's damage there. There's damage there, and we don't see it. And if we can't see it, then we don't believe it.
Come on.
You know, the broken bones, the black eyes, stuff like that, they go away. But I tell you what, these emotional injuries, these emotional wounds, you know, it doesn't take much to just start thinking back of when you got hurt, maybe a rejection, maybe something with your parents. And that pain starts to come back real quick. And it might not even be that your parents did it on purpose, but there's that damage there. And yet, because we don't see it, and that person becomes mean to us, we think that they're just mean. But we got to go back that hurt people. So, and none of us are exempt with these sin scars on our thought lives. This is damage that we've been going through. And the longer that we've been living, the more damage that there is. You know, however, when we were a child, those are the worst ones. As a little kid, you know, a little 2-year-old, you tell them you hate them, oh, that's going to hurt. You tell me you hate me, I'll say, okay, thanks. You know, those little small minds. Remember, they can't understand life. They came in with just, I don't know nothing. And so you throw some little hate there, that's going to affect them pretty bad. So the pain is real. So what do we do? Well, in Proverbs 3:5, it says, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding.
Yes.
We really, really got to do that. Because we even said, you know, reading the Bible, we read it and we say, oh, I know what the truth is. But remember, it's going through in there, and it's got some bad stuff in there. And you try to come out and you try to bring it in. And I can tell you what, any scripture I have, I can justify and make it sound like I'm doing okay.
Yeah.
It's not too hard to
Preach
do.
it, preach it.
If I do it in my understanding.
Yeah.
Therefore, we got to use God's understanding. Psalms 118:8. It says, it's better to take refuge in the Lord than to trust in humans. So, we're a body and we're a brain, but that's not all we are. There's a spirit there. There's emotions. And so if there can be mental abuse, if there can be physical abuse, well, there can also be emotional abuse. And there also can be spiritual abuse. And we got to be able to understand this, because if we don't, then these relationships that we try to have with people will continue to be breaking up. Because we tend to think of ourselves. And that's a bad thing to do. Because when God was on the cross, he wasn't thinking of himself.
Come on.
You know, he said, you know, forgive me, for they know not what they do. He didn't say, forgive me, get me out of this. This ain't feeling good.
Come on. Jesus.
You know, we want to follow his ways, but we've got to be able to follow, you know, every way that we can. So, what I can't see can hurt me and others. We talk about these unseen wounds. Just because we don't see them, just because we think they're not there, oh, they're there. And so how do we try to take those away by deflecting the pain, by ignoring it, by making a distance. And then another way is by getting angry. Because one thing all of us like, and we can even to the smallest child, is power. We love power. And if we're thinking about, you know, if you're going down to telling somebody I'm hurting, that's not power. That's showing weakness. But if anger, yelling at somebody, I'm showing you power. And we'd rather do that. And that's why we see these mean people, because they're angry. They don't want to lose that power. Instead of saying, you know what, I need help. I'm hurting. Can you please help me? We don't want to do that because we're losing that power.
Come on.
Now, of course, as Christians, that should be easy because we already said that it's not on our power, it's your power, God. It should be easy.
Should be.
But sometimes it's not.
Yeah.
The illusion of anger, you know, that's the one that you think that you're strong, you think that you're powered, you think you're in control. And I'll tell you what, for a little bit, it gives you a little bit of satisfaction. Because you wouldn't do it if it didn't. But it gives you that little satisfaction. Aha, I'm better than you, I'm bigger than you. I just yelled at you, you didn't yell back. You know, maybe I'll throw a punch at you. Look, I put pain on you. And for that moment, I wasn't the one in pain, you were. But once again, it's not the way that God planned it. Psalms, almost lost my place. However, what happens is, we talk about hurt people, victims then become victimizers. And the way that this is a weird way of thinking, and people will never say it out. But what they're doing is, this is the way they think of it. If I overpower, dominate, and abuse you today, it temporarily numbs the pain I still have because I was overpowered. I was dominated. I was abused yesterday. That's a weird way of thinking, but that's what people are doing. You know, that's why people are hurting other people. It's because they felt that pain and they don't want it. And they're thinking that for once, I'm not the one in pain. That person is.
Yeah.
And it's sad that we bring ourselves that way. In Psalms 139, 23, and 24, it says, "Search me, God, and know my heart. Test me and know my anxious thoughts. See if there's any offensive way in me and lead me into the way of everlasting." That understanding is so important. So who are these people that are hurting us? Is it the pastor? I think the pastor would sound right. Or associate pastor? That's
Ourselves.
or the wife? Or maybe the parents? Mom and dad? And they're the ones that started it. And let's not blame them. That's not, and I know we have parents here. It's like, hey, watch it. I've done good. Just remember, as parents, we were all unprepared. You know what? When I took my driver's license, I had more information on how to drive. They even gave me a book, and I could read. And before I could even become a dad, I had to go practice driving right before I could get my license. And if I didn't pass the test, I couldn't drive.
Right.
But a parent is just there. It says we can do little to prepare for the unexpected other than expected. That's about it. So I'm going to give a little bit of advice here. We talked about shame. There's some biological shame that we do and we don't mean to do it. For instance, little Junior is in the restaurant or in the store, you're walking, and you tell him, come on, hurry up, slowpoke. Man, you're slow. Come on, let's go. Look, you just bumped into him. Oh, you are so clumsy. And these are little words that we just said, and we don't mean anything by it. But we got to remember that children are not little adults. They are smaller. They do take longer than we do. They are clumsy too. But they don't need to know that. Because all that's going to go away. Once they grow up, you'd be surprised. They're probably going to outrun you. They're probably going to help you walk. Because you're clumsy now. But if we say those things, guess what? It stays in their head. I'm slowpoke. I'm clumsy. That stays even though the body already is working itself out. You know, you think about those elephants, I always get surprised. Big old elephant, when they were real little, they would put a little nail there in a little string, and the elephant couldn't do it. And then as it got bigger, that thing still held them back. Because they learned. Well, that's what we're doing with our kids. You slowpoke, you're clumsy. Even though they're not. It's in their brain. Man, I'm slowpoke, I'm clumsy. So definitely we got to watch out with our words. Because what happens next is the intellectual and the physical part starts to happen. We're all connected. Our spiritual life, it starts affecting that too. We've got to be careful with that biological shame. Because when we do that, it really starts to hurt them. And like I said, it's going to go away. Just give it time. But we cannot be saying that. Hurt parents with personal problems. You know, we get so selfish as parents that we start thinking, man, this problem's hurting me, this problem's hurting me. You know, it's also hurting your kids. I can guarantee you that every time that Abigail, Eva, Michael, Caleb were happy was because I was happy. And we start thinking of ourselves, you know, I'm upset, I'm sad. You know what? You know, I want to be happy. Happiness has nothing to do with you. You better find a way to get happy. Because you got kids back there watching you. And if you're grandparents, you got little ones, they're watching you. And if you're sad, they're going to go sad too. So I'm saying you have no choice, but you got to be happy. And if you don't know how to be happy, fake it. Until you learn how to be happy. Because the scars from abuse, and we're not talking just physical, sexual, but emotional, all those kinds of abuse, they last a lifetime. And not only your lifetime, but your children's lifetime. We gotta be able to find a way to do that. If we're distracted with our pain, how are we helping them? How are we helping them if we're just committed, oh man, my pain, I'm hurt, I lost my job, I'm having trouble at church. You know what? You can't be helping someone if you're not. They talk about the airplane, they're flying. You know what? You better put on your mask first so you can help them. You better be happy first before you try to make them happy. Because they know that it's fake. Hurt parents with poor priorities. You know, too busy. It was kind of sad, but a little bit funny is one of my friends, he says, hey man, when my dad dies, I'm going to play that song Cats in the Cradle, because man, that's such a powerful song. I was like, buddy, have you heard about the lyrics? It talks about, you know, dad's not busy, dad's too busy for you, and then it turns around and you're too busy to be with him. It's like, no, you better try another song. But sometimes we get too busy. We get too tired. And anyone that's had children knows, man, they grow up way too quick. 18 years, man, 18 years goes by way too quick. And as children, we believe that the image of ourselves that we saw mirrored in our parents' face and in their behavior towards us is an accurate reflection of our identity. That's, ouch, that hurts. You know, I look back and think of all the times that I pointed at my kids and yelled and was disappointed. Man, I'm building their identity. And of course, I'm not thinking about that. I'm thinking about, you know, Junior drops a milk. Oh, you're clumsy. I can't believe you. You're always doing this. No, he's not always doing it. It was a couple of times. But you throw that always. Those words hurt. And once again, it's adding up to why people are mean. You know, we're doing damage and we don't even know it.
Yeah.
Now, I got into psychology, I got into counseling and stuff. And one thing I learned, I was like, oh man, I really screwed up my kids. Thank you, God, that I wasn't the only father in their life. Because if it was just me, I would be, you know, hopefully they would be in prison. At least they could be safe there. If it would be, I'm so glad that I did have the knowledge that, man, I can't do it on my own. I need God. So, most flaws are due to inadequate preparation, poor priorities, and personal problems. What more, all parents are wounded to some degree by their own hurting and hurtful parents. So this thing just keeps on going. It just keeps going. And so I get hurt. I take it out on my kids. My grandkids are going to do it. It just keeps going. And we're talking about family. Not only family, this church. You hurt one each other. And like, but I'm justified to hurt him. Come on. I got a right to hurt him. No, you don't. You don't have a right to hurt him. No matter how bad they are, no matter how evil they are, you don't have a right to hurt them.
Jesus.
Amen.
Yes, I do. I got hurt. No, you're just going into, go back to John 10:10. It doesn't say, God says what? Life and more abundantly?
Amen.
Is that what you're doing by hurting him? But
Come on.
he's wrong. Or she's wrong. Right? If she's wrong, I can get mad at them. I can yell. I can hurt them. No, you can't. So let me finish this. Unavailable parents mean unmet needs. All children's needs the emotional security and nurturing that comes from a safe, gentle embrace. Feeling the void of unmet needs and the strings of broken promises, children begin to believe that there is something wrong with their needs. We all want these needs. We all cry for these needs. But only for a while that children are going to stop. One of the saddest stories that I heard was this evangelist came into this, it was an African place, and they went to a place where there was a bunch of children. And the evangelist walks in and says, man, why is it so quiet? What happened? And the doctor or the nurse says, oh, because after about 4 weeks, 5 weeks, they stop crying because they know their needs aren't going to be met. So they're just silent. And that could happen to us as families. If we stop giving their needs, they're just going to stop asking. And the sad is they're going to go looking somewhere else.
Come on.
At a church. They keep asking for needs, and we don't provide. They're going to stop asking
Amen.
and go somewhere else. And hopefully it's another church, but most of the times it's not. Because if one church damaged them, they say all churches damaged. Just like a child. If dad damaged me, you know what? God is just an exaggerated father. And you think that, okay, I see this dad and this dad, destroyed my life. You think I'm going to go to a father? I don't think so. So if we learn anything here, that there are unseen wounds. And next time someone is mean to you, let's get out of our little shell, our little ouch, and wonder about their ouch. You hear little kids, oh, he's got an owie. Let's search for their little owie. If we can focus on that, I guarantee you that we're not, even if you do get hurt and you don't fix it, guess what? You stop that cycle of hurting people, hurt people.
Amen.
You stop doing Satan's job and let Satan try to do his job.
Amen. Yes.
Even though you might think, no, I'm doing God's job. No. If you're hurting someone,
That's good, Rob.
if you're hurting someone, you're not doing God's job. Yeah, but he's hurting. No, you're not. Remember, there's only one thing you can fix, is that yourself. Whatever that person does, you can't do nothing.
Amen.
So, unseen wounds. John 20:25. So the other disciples told him, we have seen the Lord. But he said to them, unless I see the nail marks in his hands, and put my fingers where the nails were, and put my hands into his sides, I will not believe. And that's how we are with people. I don't see the damage. I don't see the hurt part. I don't see no pain. I don't know. He's just being mean to me. But then it goes to John 20:27. Then he said to Thomas, put your fingers here, see my hands, reach out your hand and put it into my side, and stop doubting and believing. So let's walk in their shoes. Let's ask them about their family, how they're hurt. Let's start concentrating on their pain instead of our pain. And to finish it off, 2 Corinthians 4:18. So we fix our eyes not on what is seen, but on what is unseen. Since what is seen is temporary, that stuff's temporary. But what is unseen is eternal. So if we keep hurting ourselves because we don't see the damage that the other people have, we're just going to continue. And if something is not safe, it's not going to grow.
That's right.
Even a child, they'll grow up, but they'll just get taller. Inside they won't grow. They'll still be small where that pain was. So if there's any way that we can focus on others, that's all we have to do. We don't have to focus on ourselves. You know, it says the two things are love God and love others. It doesn't even say to love yourself, because God knows that you're going to do that. And we are so selfish. Matter of fact, it says love others like you love yourself. Because right away we're always thinking of ourselves. If we follow those two, we're good. And like I said, we're doing awesome with the relationship up there. But it's this relationship. Since we can't have that drive-in church and we got to face other people, let's do it right.
Amen.
And the only way we can do it right, because I can't make Gabe like me. I can't make Gabe do stuff, but I can make myself do stuff. And that's with everyone else. That's the only person we have to worry about. So if George is over here punching or shooting me, hopefully I'm ducking, but I've got to be able to control myself. And that's, at the end of it, that's all we have control of is ourselves. And some of us know that we don't even have control of our children.
Come on.
They hit 18 and it's bye-bye. They can do whatever they want. But we have control of ourselves, and let's start working on our relationships with each other. Pastor?
Praise God. I see the Lord.